guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Usually, pag sinasabi nating ikaw ay isang visitor dito sa Canada, you cannot work. Kasi you're just a visitor, 'di ba? Pero alam nyo ba that there are instances wherein a visitor can work, pero may mga condition po yan. Okay? Yan ang mga tinatawag na digital nomads. Yan ang ating pag-uusapan. How does this work? Tsaka meron bang immigration pathway yan? Nandito sila bilang visitor tapos nakakapag-work? Okay, yan ang ating ipapaliwanag sa atin lahat yan ni attorney, immigration lawyer Lou Dangzalan. Hello, Lou. Welcome back.
Hello, welcome back din. Ganun. Ganun yung sagot, ano. Hello, salamat sa pag-imbita.
Ayan. Okay, digital nomads. You know, actually, I remember, Lou, you mentioned this to me a long time ago. You pitched this topic a long time ago. And then when I was doing a little research on what I can talk about, just a few days ago, bigla siyang lumitaw sa research ko, no, yung digital nomad. O sige nga, i-explain mo. Ano ba tong digital nomad? Generally speaking, ang sa akin lang, di ba? Visitors who can work, pero may condition, sino dapat ang employer nila? Tama ba?
Yeah, so halimbawa, tatrabaho ka sa isang company sa Manila, tas allowed ka to work remotely. So you just take that as a logical extension. Punta ka ng Canada as a visitor, meron ka na existing visitor visa. Yun, para ka na nag-digital nomad. So in other words, nasa Canada ka on temporary resident status but you don't have the authorization to work. So you have to understand, yung baseline requirement dito is you need to define what work is, and the regulation does define what work is. Sabi dito that work means an activity for which wages are paid or commission is earned, or that is in direct competition with the activities of Canadian citizens or permanent residents in the Canadian labor market. So in other words, if a person who is employed in Manila by, let's say, Ayala Corporation, kunwari na lang, tapos remote yung setup ng trabaho niya, punta siyang Hong Kong, 14 days siya doon. Tapos pumunta siya sa pinsan niya sa Vancouver, 2 buwan siya doon. Pero hindi siya nag-leave of absence. Tuloy-tuloy lang yung trabaho. Nag-graveyard shift lang siya from Vancouver, di ba? Para masabayan niya yung oras sa Manila. So in other words, hindi siya nagtatrabaho in Canada within the definition of work. Kasi sabi dun sa definition nga, you need to be taking away an opportunity from a Canadian citizen or Canadian permanent resident with active participation in the Canadian labor market. Yung trabaho mo from the Philippines, di ba?
Yeah.
Sumasahod ka sa Philippines. Nandun ka lang sa Canada, nakatira ka lang dun temporarily. So, in other words, anyone who can enter Canada without, well, let's say like, kahit kung may visa ka to Canada, di ba? Halimbawa, meron kang TRV na valid for 10 years. Or may US visa ka, tapos naka-apply ka ng ETA and you flew into Canada. So, nakapasok ka ng Canada. Can you be a digital nomad? The quick answer is yes. So long as wala kang business in Canada na nagko-compete with Canadians nga.
Yan, okay. Actually, kung iisipin mo, no, many people do this, yung mga nagbabakasyon, dadali nila syempre laptop nila. Hindi, I'll do a little work on the side. Basically, yun na rin yun, ano? But,
Correct.
I think our viewers would be interested to know na, alam mo, part din ng attracting tech talent strategy ng Canada, yung pag-attract ng digital nomads. Because when I was doing a little research on this, guys, from canada.ca ito. Tignan nyo, attracting tech talent to Canada. Yung strategy nila, nakasulat dito, yung programs were improving. Kasama po dyan, promoting Canada to digital nomads. Nakasulat din dito, digital nomads working remotely for an employer outside of Canada can live and work here for up to 6 months at a time. They don't need a work permit. All they need is a visitor status. And sabi dito, we're working with provinces and territories to consider more options to attract digital nomads. Ang tanong ko, Lu, ano ba ang pakinabang ng Canada sa digital nomads? Why would they include them in such strategies?
Hanash.
Ano?
I mean, in all seriousness, it's a strategy that could potentially form, yung tawag dito, social friction and ano siya, para siyang emulsifying agent kumbaga sa interactions ng mga nasa tech startup scene.
Yeah.
Halimbawa, already working for a small tech startup, let's say out of Singapore, tapos nag-digital nomad ako sa Canada, halimbawa. Tapos, yung mga kasama-sama ko, yung mga nasa Canada mismo, pwede kasing baka biglang magkaroon ng business idea, 'di ba? So yung mga gano'n, very ano siya, very prone for incubating new businesses, for example. So yun yung isa sa mga hope. Pangalawa, siyempre itong tao na ito, usually mataas mataas ang income nila usually, mga high net worth individuals ito in
Mhm.
terms of income. So if you bring them to Canada, then they spend their money in Canada. So it
Right.
does help in the economy. So there is meron yung direct objectives of like encouraging like, connections between people working in those types of jobs and then encouraging them to potentially like set up shop in Canada. Meron din siyang secondary economic effects of multiplier effect kumbaga in terms of like encouraging people to spend their money in Canada, 'di ba? So,
Yeah.
yun yung mga prime motivations. Pero if you go back to that page, tignan mo yun sa dulo, tinignan ko yun, hinintay ko nung scroll down mo. Nakalagay diyan yung last update niya was April 2024.
Yes, yes.
Guess who was the minister at the time? I was there kasi na-interview ako dati ng Toronto Star ata yun, I think,
Mm.
when they came out with an article with this tech strategy ni Minister Fraser at the time. And no one really understood the idea of a digital nomad at the time. So
Mhm.
sa akin napunta dahil yun nga, I was familiar with the particular portfolio. So ang sabi ko nga, like, it doesn't really change anything from the visa perspective. Sabi
Mhm.
nga diyan mismo na you just need a visitor visa. Or if you're visa exempt, you need an ETA. And you can stay for up to 6 months.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
Okay.
So, gano'n lang siya kasimple. Kasi nga
Right.
hindi yan nangangailangan ng work permit.
Okay. Pero, Lou, hindi naman ibig sabihin na last updated siya ng April 2024, hindi na ito valid. It's still an
Correct.
ongoing policy, is it?
Because it's a policy without the real program mechanisms
Right.
because the program already exists in the form of yung TRV tsaka yung ETA for those who wish to visit Canada.
Mhm.
That's it.
Right, right, right. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And hindi naman ibig sabihin na nandun siya sa tech strategy, pang tech remote work lang ito. Hindi naman, 'di ba? It could be any remote
No, you
job.
can be any type of remote worker. Halimbawa, ano ka, billing analyst ka or let's say accounts receivable person, encoder ka. Tapos some reason maayos naman yung sahod mo, tapos meron kang kapatid na nasa Canada tapos nakitira ka sa kanila for 6 months. Para ka na ring digital nomad, 'di ba?
Right.
Kasi gano'n naman or halimbawa talagang virtual assistant ka na from the Philippines, yung mga kliyente mo nasa Australia or sa US. Yun, puwede kang pumunta ng Canada, gano'n. Dun ka mag-iingat though. Halimbawa, kung ano ka, digital nomad ka I'm sorry, kung virtual assistant ka tapos yung mga kliyente mo, Canadian
Yeah.
companies, pasok na ba yun sa meaning ng work? I would argue yes.
Oo.
Kasi you're already in direct this is something, yung work na ginagawa mo at that point could be done by a Canadian or a Canadian permanent resident. So
Oo.
you're in the Canadian labor force or market. You are competing. So kailangan mo ng work permit in that particular circumstance.
Actually, yan mismo yung tatanungin ko, no? Kasi I was going to ask, how could this concept of digital nomads be useful sa konteksto ngayon ng mga kababayan natin? Marami kasi nag extend via visitor record, di
Hmm.
ba? Kung mag-VA sila, yung VA kasi napaka-popular din na trabaho nowadays sa mga Pinoy, they can do this, pero as you mentioned, hindi po puwedeng Canadian yung kanilang boss. Tama ba yun?
Hmm. I think
That's
we've
at
talked
least one
mhm.
way for them to still earn income. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, I think we've talked about this before. In fact, I've made these recommendations to some people who already have VA experience. So long as hindi Canadian yung kanilang employment or yung kanilang contract, then they wouldn't be caught by the definition of work in the
Right,
strictest sense, 'di ba? So
right.
kung VA sila for a British company, then they should be okay because the company is in the UK and yung trabaho is actually located in the UK, like in theory, pero virtually you can work from anywhere, 'di ba?
Right,
So you're
okay.
not competing with Canadians for the Canadian market.
Okay. Okay, you apply for a visitor visa. Ang goal mo, sige sasamahan ko yung misis ko. Malay mo 'no,
Hmm.
may mga, PFW dito, asawa nila nasa Pilipinas, na VA, yung pala, "O sige puwede tayong magsama 'no, kuha ako ng visitor visa, diyan ako magvi-VA," sabihin nung nasa Pilipinas. When you
Hmm.
apply for that visitor visa, should you offer that information to like, Canada na, "Pupunta ako dun kasi magre-remote work ako dun," or like
You're
would
supposed to provide your employment details when you're applying for a visitor visa anyway.
okay.
So, hindi siya question of like, should I volunteer to offer this, but rather, am I required to provide this information according to Section
Right,
16 of the
okay.
Act? Yes.
Okay, tsaka
Mhm.
ipapakita mo naman dun na yung employer mo, hindi naman taga
Yes,
Canada,
yes.
gano'n.
Correct, yun nga.
Okay,
So you have to explain, 'di ba? Pero yun nga, discretion to ng officer para ka rin nag-a-apply ng visitor visa at the end of the day. They need to be convinced na aalis ka after 6 months.
yeah, yun na nga. Okay, how about extending after 6 months? Is that a concern? Ano ba yun, high ba ang
Yes.
chance of getting an extension?
I mean, you can apply for a visitor record from a strict immigration standpoint as long as you can prove that you're in compliance and that you can leave and that while you're in Canada, you can support yourself. That's the immigration requirement. However, I should note that after 183 days of physical presence in Canada, you become a tax resident in Canada,
Yeah,
regardless of status as a visitor. So I'm not a tax lawyer, but I do know enough about this that yun yung kailangan nyo isipin. Kasi, halimbawa, yung setup nyo, empleyado kayo sa Pilipinas, tapos you can just work from anywhere. You're already being deducted in the Philippines, obviously, because withheld yun. Tapos sa Canada, kailangan mo rin mag-file ng taxes. If you don't do that, that's a criminal offense.
okay.
If you evade
Sorry Lou,
taxes.
can you clarify that? At what point, if you are a digital nomad, at what point should you
No,
declare that?
it's not just being a digital nomad. It's anyone
Okay,
who is physically present in Canada for who is a they're called tax resident. This is
right.
not immigration law
Okay,
anymore. This
okay.
is tax law. 'Di ba? Under tax law, basically kapag ka pasok ka sa definition ng isang tax resident, you have to file your taxes in Canada
Got
for
it.
your global income. Hindi porket hindi ka kumikita sa Canada, you don't have to declare it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Got it.
No, they look at your global income. So kahit galing pa ng Timbuktu yung kinikita mo, nasa lang pake. You have to include it in your list of income.
Okay, so that's clear ano, guys, kung balak ninyong gawin ito, research on the tax obligations that you will have. O last na lang Luno, i-clarify din natin, walang immigration pathway itong pagiging digital nomad.
Hmm.
Okay, sakaling nag-work sila dito remotely, naku na in love sa Canada. Anong
Mhm.
options ng isang digital nomad? Kasi naka-visitor record lang siya. Tapos ano ba,
Good
mag-a-attach
question.
siya ng employer? Yeah.
AFAM pathway, hindi joke lang.
No, ikaw
Hindi,
talaga.
hindi, hindi, biro lang, biro lang. Hindi anong tawag dito, yun nga, walang specific pathway for digital nomads. You are strictly speaking a visitor in
Mm,
Canada. That's it, pansit.
mm.
But it doesn't stop you from qualifying to any of the available PR programs to you. So for example, nisip mo, oh, well, I'm physically present in Canada. I'm working as a digital nomad. Tapos yung work experience ko is in Manila, for example, kasi nandun yung kanilang headquarters, for example, although remote naman yung work setup. Pero nasa Canada ka for 6 months. Can you count that time in Canada? Let's just say 12 months.
Mm.
Can you count that 12 months in Canada as part of your skilled work experience in Canada? The answer is no. You
Okay.
need to be employed in Canada. You need to present your T4s, etc., etc.
Okay.
So very strict yung requirements for gaining Canadian work experience. Um, there is like, a little bit of vagueness and gray area dun sa law when it comes to foreign skilled work experience. Does it count as foreign skilled work experience if you were in Canada physically? Kasi yung rules ng FSW, it says that you have to be not in Canada, for example.
Okay.
Um,
Paano po 'no?
so
Nga
it
naman.
could be tricky. So yeah, yung ganong tanong kailangan i-research pa. Pero from my understanding of it is you can't even count the time that you are physically present in Canada. So you have to like look into it very closely kung ano yung payment arrangement, ano yung employment structure, etc., etc. Kung talagang temporary lang talaga yung pagstay nyo sa Canada, maybe you only were here for like 1 month, for example.
Oo.
Baka naman pwede pang i-count. Depende sa circumstances din ng individual. Pero kasi kung 6 months ka na sa Canada, parang, I have questions.
Oo.
So, to answer your question very briefly, walang specific pathways for digital nomads. You have to qualify in the traditional programs that are available. And not only that, walang special treatment. Diba? Ganun pa rin
Right.
yun. You
Oh.
can't count it for Canadian skilled work experience.
Yeah. And if siguro if they just wanna extend their stay, they can also find a Canadian-based employer, right? Maghahanap ka ng LEMIA, that's another option.
Yeah, yun naman yung sinasabi natin parati, di ba? You are not prohibited from looking for a job. What you're prohibited from doing is you cannot work without your work permit yet. Diba?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you and I have seen so many cases na yung mga recruiters tsaka minsan yung mga ghost consultants or even consultants would say na, gosh, inilalakad na, pwede na kayo magtrabaho. There was a time that there was a public policy that allowed that during COVID, di ba?
Yeah.
Inabuso. Ang dami ko na na-handle na cases na gano'n na unauthorized work, unfortunately. Forced
Yeah.
error. Good faith naman yung applicant pero sinabihan kasi sila ng employer, gano'n.
Yeah. Okay. So, ano lang guys, if digital nomads find an employer, it's the same process like everybody else.
Correct.
They will also
Yes.
eventually, I think, have to exit and then come back para makuha yung kanilang work permit. Okay? Ganun po yun.
Tama.
Pag nandito na kayo, yun na yun. Pwede na kayo maghintay dito. Okay, so that is it. Thanks so much, Lou, for clarifying for us ito nga issue ng pagiging digital nomad. If you have other questions, guys, put them down there in the comment section. Okay, we'll end this episode here. Thanks, Lou. Bye, everybody.
Bye.